Well, hello, my friends. It's Shawn Petite, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Look at this beauty we're creating today. Here are the supplies that we'll be using and the stencils that we'll be using in today's project. I'm starting the project in my handmade journal using some jelly plate prints for some random texture in the background. And today is really all about play and experimenting and just really enjoying the process and allowing my inspiration to really come forward in this project. It just came together so wonderfully. So this is the geometric stencil, 6x6 stencil, and both stencils will be on sale this week for you. And I'm using some black acrylic paint to just kind of stencil that out. And I wanted some unexpected things for this piece. I wanted to do things differently and just play and try new things. And just layer it up, lots and lots of layers, which goes along with the inspiration. So I've got some white acrylic paint in a little cup with some matte medium and a little bit of water, and I'm just kind of pouring it on. And then I did the same thing with a little bit of Golden's nickel azo gold, and I wanted different color combinations. I wanted to really kind of have to deal with some of the unexpected things that might come through this piece. It was all about experimenting, letting go, letting the layers just happen, and working through the process. And so I mixed up the paints so that I could just pour them on, and I'm using my catalyst tool. And I have grown to love my color shaper tool that it took me a while to get used to. And so I'm working with my catalyst tool to just really expand my tools and skills and just, again, learn, play, grow. And I'm just going to layer it up a little bit and just kind of experiment with shapes, form, layers. Now, I put down Deco Arts Crackle Paint and forgot to turn the camera on, and then turned it on after I was done. So I'm putting everything away right now. But I wanted to let you know that I did put some Crackle Paint down. Deco Art's my favorite, and it dried beautifully as always. And you'll see those cracks show up in just a little bit. So layering up my catalyst tool with some paint directly onto my tool. Again, experimenting, learning, growing, layering. And this is Deco Arts Craft Paint in, I think it's like clay. I think it's called clay or pottery. All the supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog will be down below in the YouTube description box. All the supplies and everything will be listed on the blog. And just, again, experimenting and playing and adding to the layers to this journal page. I brought out some Nuvo expanding mousse. I wanted some gold. Now, this didn't turn out like I wanted it to, but that's okay because everything comes together and it all goes so well with the meaning of this piece. So the Nuvo expanding mousse is wonderful. It adds some amazing texture, but I wanted gold, shiny gold, and this was more of a really kind of matte, kind of grungy gold. And then once you heat it, it expands and bubbles and gets some really cool texture. And you're going to see how once you heat it, it goes darker. It's almost like a brass, kind of a tarnished brass. So while it was awesome and it provided some really great texture, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And that's okay, because all of the layers add to the incredible final piece. Now, at this point, I wanted some grungy goodness. And of course, I'm trying new things, so I made a mixture of things and was going to use my catalyst tool to kind of drag that raw umber across the page and kind of highlight around that kind of brass feeling that I had going on. Well, it turned to this gigantic mess. And I just hated it, for lack of better words, at the moment. But again, like I said, every single layer is valuable in this page, just like our lives and just like the inspiration for this piece. So you're going to see me try to work my way through this and try to figure out, okay, so at this point I'm thinking, well, this looks terrible. Maybe if I lighten it up, it'll help. And it didn't. And so I'm going to work my way through this. And of course I do, because you've seen the final piece. But every single thing, every single layer has its own spectacular beauty. And I love that. And each layer taught me something. And so like this grungy goodness that you're looking at right now, oh my gosh, I love it. But it wasn't what I was looking for. So I wanted to use the other stencil because I wanted to add some element of faith for me in the piece. And so that's kind of what I did here in kind of an abstract way, which was what I wanted, kind of abstract. And I wanted to use that kind of deep purple as kind of the focal point. Well, I didn't like this either. And sometimes it's like that when we create. Sometimes it's like that in life. We make choices and we do things and it doesn't seem to go the way that we wanted. So I thought, well, what if I just add some of that sheer white paint to it and then kind of, wipe it away and kind of push everything back? And that was okay, but it wasn't great. So I'm just continuing to learn from the layers and see what I can do to bring this piece back home and to the place that makes me happy, because that's really all that matters in our journals, is our happiness, and if it touches something for us. So I decided, I got some Sargent, like true gold. This is like one of the best gold paints I've ever used. It is gold and so beautiful. So once I got this gold down, I knew right away what I needed to do. And I love it when that happens, and I love being able to stick with it to the end. So I wanted to kind of bring some of that stenciling back, because I liked that kind of graphic element. So I stenciled in some gold and then a little bit of black over that gold to kind of keep it there but not have it so pristine and beautiful. And so I brought some papers in because I thought I was going to have a bigger focal point, which ended up not happening. And I just love every step of this. And it has such incredible meaning, and it all works so well together. Wait till you hear the conversation at the end. So I printed out several different types of words and put them down, and it says the layers beneath, which is so appropriate. And then I've got my fine line applicator, and I am journaling out my thankfulness for every layer and what it has taught me. I've got some Liquitex acrylic ink out here, and I'm just going, and it's muted gray, so it's bringing back some of that purple that was in the cross, and kind of adding that element of that color without it covering up or being too much. And I was still trying to bring some of the element of that stencil in. And I'm trying to figure out just what it needs right now. And I know exactly what it needs. It needs to be simplified. But I haven't gotten there yet. I'm trying to save some of the other layers. And we have to be willing to let go of the background of the layers to be able to move forward. Those tick marks are representative of the layers of my life that have brought me to the place that I'm at today, and also represents the inspiration behind the piece. And now I start bringing clarity to the piece. It took me a long time to get here to just start covering things up. But once I did, I knew it was the right decision. I knew that I could focus in on the things that I absolutely loved. And all of those layers that we put down create this amazing texture, this amazing background, this interest and depth that you don't get with just a single layer. And so I am now highlighting the areas that I love, the layers that I love, and then simplifying the rest. So I'm going to add just a little bit of shading with some Liquitex acrylic inks in transparent umber and muted gray, a little bit of soft pastel and some charcoal pencil to add just a little bit of depth to this piece and kind of really accentuate the places that I want. But I hope you stick around for the conversation at the end. It's a good one about how the inspiration to this piece and what I was thinking and journaling this week played out in this in real time. And it's so amazing. I just love it when that happens, and how important the layers of our lives are, even the bad ones, are so important to who we are and our journey. And so I hope you stick around for that conversation. All the supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog is down below in the YouTube description box. And if you enjoyed today's project, I hope you subscribe and like and share and all those wonderful things. And thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Well, hello, my loves, and happy Sunday to you. What a journey this was. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't, when I have an idea and it plays out in front of me, like this message that I had when I came to the page and it actually plays out like I'm thinking, it's just unbelievable or divine. It's just, I love it. And I'm so incredibly pleased with how this looks after all that happened throughout this piece. I experimented a lot with mixing my paints with Liquitex matte medium and kind of watering them down and pouring them on. And you know what? That's what creating is all about, especially in our journals. Anytime, it really is just about getting out of our own way and just going for it. And that's what I did. And yet I had this idea about the inspiration behind this piece, and it's just so perfect for how it went. So real quick, the two stencils that I use that you don't really end up seeing, I mean, they're back there and you can kind of see some of the pattern. The texture on this is unbelievable. Oh my gosh, I just love it. These two stencils are going to be marked, like super marked down. We're actually discontinuing these ones. So these two are going to be super duper cheap for you if you want to get those. We only have limited supplies of these, and what we have in the shop will be what we have. And that's it. We won't be making any more. So I used a lot of things in this, and I went over it through the video, but so good. So my inspiration came just through my journaling, and I was last Sunday I talked about how I was inspired by my kids, and it's such a wonderful feeling as a parent to see your kids, your adult children, and what amazing human beings they are. And as I started thinking about that, and as I was journaling through a few things this last week, I started thinking about the layers of my life, and how there are seasons and times when the season I was in, or the things that I were doing, or the layers that I was putting within my life weren't very pretty, weren't great, were hard, were for a lot of reasons. Some because of self-inflicted, and some because of other people. And you know, you're in this season where sometimes I know I felt like I would make a choice and it felt like the wrong choice all the time. Or I would make a choice and then be thwarted by somebody else's bad decision. And, you know, I got to a point where I'm like, okay, Lord, I can't take anymore. I kept putting the layers on myself, on my life, like this piece of art, like art in itself. So when I started thinking about this story and writing and journaling it out about my life and the layers of my life, I really related it to art and how it works. When we layer, we start layering, and sometimes we start with the best intentions and we have really great ideas, and there's some really great stuff in here, but it doesn't create a beautiful picture just yet. And sometimes we have to continue to work on those layers of our lives to create something beautiful. And I could have stopped and said, this sucks, I'm just going to turn the page. But I kept going to make it something that was pleasing to me. Maybe not to you, and that's okay, but was pleasing to me. And I love this. I love the layers, all the layers that show through, and the layers beneath. And the layers beneath are what makes this so amazing. And I want to remind you of that, and myself, because that's what I did this, because I was journaling, because I was feeling, you know, I think as a parent, we always think we can do better, and I'm sure we can, but sometimes you're just doing the best you can with what you've got. I mean, you know, I was a teenager, basically. I mean, my first was born when I was 20. I mean, what did I know? I mean, oh my gosh, seriously. And so there were a lot of mistakes that I made as a parent, and yet my kids turned out to be really amazing human beings. And I likened it to the layers of my art and to the layers of my life. They're the same in so many ways. And just like this happened, you know, I had this plan and I was going to do all these great layers. And when I got to this point where I was like, this sucks, I absolutely hate it. And I sat down for a second and I thought, well, okay, so how does this apply to the inspiration, to the layers of my life? What would I do in my life if I decided, excuse me, that where I was at sucked? I wouldn't just turn the page. I would work at making it better. I wouldn't just let go of all the layers, because all the things that I've gone through, all the things that you've gone through, whether it's good or bad, and even those sucky decisions that we've made, that I have made, they've all contributed to this beautiful work of art that is your life today. And if we continue building the layers, if we continue to learn. So when I had all the chaos going on, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do here? I'm like, I need to simplify, but I don't want to get rid of this, and I don't want to get rid of this, and I like this over here. But is it going to work if I keep all those things? No, I need to let go of those things. Like I say, let go of the background. Same thing with my life. I had to let go of some things that I thought were the things that were going to help me or make me better. And I had to let go of some of those things to move forward in my own life. And as soon as I did that, I was able to see things clearer, just like this. As soon as I simplified, as soon as I put that white layer on, it was like, oh, there was some quiet and some peace in my brain. And I could see where I wanted to go. But the layers are important to who I am today, to my piece of art, to the intricacy and all of the depth to this piece. Same thing with our own lives. All of those layers of our lives, good and bad, contribute to who we are, to our depth, to our wisdom, to our empathy, to our knowledge, to all of the things. They're all part of who we are. And we don't need to be ashamed of them. We need to say, all right, well, that didn't work. That wasn't a great idea, but you know what? I'm going to put another layer on, and I am determined to make this beautiful. We have a choice. We get to choose if we just give up or if we stay at it. And we take a step back, we look, we learn, we think, all those kinds of things to see what we need to do to try and clarify our vision and clarify where we're going. And then do it. Do it. And that's exactly, I mean, that was where I was going with my inspiration, and that is exactly what happened in this piece, and I did not plan it at all. And I thought, as I got to that messy place and I started putting the white layers down, I was like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. Perfect for today's inspiration. So that's it, my love. I hope that you are continuing to build the beautiful layers of your life. And if you're in a place where everything feels chaotic, don't give up. Just take a step back. Take a deep breath. Read something really good. Fill yourself with great inspiration. Learn, grow, and then come back to whatever chaos that you might be dealing with. And be clear. Get a clearer picture of where you want to go and what you need. And then do it. And then paint that. You get to choose how you respond. You get to choose how you live. You get to choose so many things. And then do it. All right, loves. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I hope it's restful and peaceful. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.